So yeah, Bina, thank you so much for joining today on the Divine Shakti Arts podcast. It's a
Thank you so
real
much.
yeah, it's a real honor to have you. And it was just really spontaneous and lovely to meet you in Chennai uh, at Basil with a Twist. You
Yes.
came in and you told us your story there, and it related so much to me. I couldn't resist asking you to be part of this and
It,
share a little bit of what you've gone through in your story.
it's
So
in fact, it's an honor because I always believe that speaking to somebody, gain your own knowledge. You will have different perspectives of something similar when we discuss. So it's so nice to, especially discuss with somebody whether when you really feel that there's a similar wavelength, which you can be just open and talk what is there in your heart without any prejudice or seeing that, okay, how it will be looked at, all that things. It's very nice and I'm happy about it. Thank you so much.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think when we get together, like-minded people get together and talk about things like this, it really builds some sort of momentum of that consciousness. Um, it really raises the bar, I think, for everyone. Um, and I feel that maybe it might be good for our listeners if you want to just give us like a brief history about your life, and we'll ultimately, I think, talk about the project that you're working on and that you've completed, and what that was like. But just to give people a little context, maybe you could talk about what led you to this point, um,
Yeah.
growing up and stuff.
Yeah, I'm from the southern part of India, which is a small town called Kollam in Kerala. Um, yes, I have brought up in a very orthodox family. For us, spiritualism is like going to temples, lighting a diya. In fact, we do a lot of things without even understanding what you do. But my family, like we regularly did that. We were very uh, like going to temples,
Mm-hmm.
having small pujas at home, and all these things were part of life. Uh, uh, got married at the age of 20, moved to North India with my husband. He was an army officer, now retired. So I got an opportunity to travel around India, meet different cultures. I, in fact, used to draw and sketch when I was a child, but never learned. I did my chemistry honors, but I never learned art as such. So it
Mm.
was just like scribbling or, as a biology student, making the records and so on. But after marriage, I had got a lot of time. So, and every place I tried to learn something local, which is there, I would like to interact. And I started painting, in fact, after marriage. So first it was copying of Raja Ravi Verma, great artists' work and great masters' work of Europe. So that was my learning. That they were my teachers, I would say. Uh, but towards after a few years, I started like drawing squares and circles. I started attracting got to geometry of it, some
Okay,
symmetry. I got attracted towards it and I started drawing more of geometry.
I
Uh,
see.
and uh, and somewhere like in our custom before doing a puja havan, a drawing is made on the floor to invoke the goddesses or god which we are going to do the puja. So
That's
I was
right.
very
Yeah.
interested in that diagrams. I was very interested in that diagram. So I contacted somebody in Kerala back in my town. So they were telling, okay, this is what it. So there were difference for different god and goddesses. So that was very attractive towards me. So that was my basic principle on my geometry paintings. So that
Got
is
it.
what I. involved.
So you went from studying like from life, or you replicating portraits from the masters. You attempted to learn from pictures and draw that. And that was your first learning. And
Yeah.
then you went to geometry as an inspiration. And
Yes.
as the tradition
And
goes of
yes.
creating the symbols on the ground to evoke the god or goddess during the
Yes.
puja.
Yes. But after doing that, I felt there is no energy in it. I didn't feel connected to what I was painting. There was no connection. So then, I was all ready for an exhibition with around 30 paintings. But then they all looked beautiful, but I didn't feel connected. I felt there is something in it, something more to it. So then I wanted to understand so much about it. So I was been discussing this to a friend of mine who always pushed me to do an exhibition. So then I told him, this is what it is, and I really feel there's no energy in my paintings. So then he said, okay, I will connect you to a person who understands Tantra, who's not a practitioner, or like, he's like a normal, he's not a priest or he's not a monk or anything, like a family man, but he knows in and out of the subject. I'll introduce you. It's like that I got introduced to Doctor. Um, there From there, the perception of spiritualism, perception of these squares and triangles, perception of the symmetry of the universe changed for me.
Mm-hmm.
He absolutely took a U-turn, and uh, uh, he with like, my interaction with him allowed me to see spiritualism in anything that I see around, able to understand spiritualism in a very different context, able to understand God and goddesses in a very different context, in the sense uh, like able to understand they're so close to us. It's easy to reach them, easy to connect with them. So the perception of the divinity or the divine power absolutely changed after meeting this person in my life.
Mm.
And
Okay.
I think from there, the I think the real spiritualism, or which I believe in now, has started. That the seeding was there, I felt, uh, later on, like my interactions with them, he has asked me to paint uh, 27 nakshatras, that is constellation of moon, the
Mm.
27 constellation of the moon's journey. In Kerala, we call it as astrology, or in India, we call it as astrology, like sun signs, the moon signs. So
Right.
there's a lot of every concept in India. We have a story behind it. So there was a story behind it of that there are 27 wives of moon, and he asked me to paint them. So I told him, like, I really don't know how, I really don't have any information about them. So his explanation was very simple to me, that from here you want to call your friend or a family in some country, you take the phone, you dial it, and you call them. And do you need to know the how the phone works? What is the science behind the phone? Do you need? He said, I said, no, I don't need to know. Then what is that? It's your trust that if you dial, it will go to that person. It is basically a
Right.
trust. Uh, uh,
Mm.
Even though if you don't know the science behind it,
Right.
nobody knows the science behind how a phone works, how an electricity works, what is the truth behind the science which we believe in. So you just, because you are able to connect, you are believe in it. So
Yes.
it's like that. So he said, this is just like that. Tantra is nothing but distilling of energy which is there in the universe within you. For that, you need to have trust.
Right.
So there are a lot of masters, there are a lot of painters around the world, around you, which is there in the form of spirits who have done their lovely work. So you need to just connect to them. This you do need to just connect to that energy. So if you want to paint them, just keep your canvas, just connect. So I used to tell him what to connect, and like a layman, it was so. But then he said, "You trust me?" I said, "Yes, I trust you." He said, "Okay." He gave me a mantra of that particular goddesses, and he said, "You just keep reciting and just start your take your canvas and paint. Believe that energy will give you informations, guidance, how to go about it. Nobody can teach you. I cannot teach you this." That I did 27 nakshatras in 9 months without even going out of my house. But that was a practice for me, even though I have done a lot of research because a lot of materials are available
Yes.
on Google, with regards to
Right.
nakshatras. I've done a lot of research on it, but still I could feel that yes, there is some energy which is connecting me to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it was a beautiful experience when he was alive. So
Yeah.
one of the days, yeah,
It just sounds like what a great opportunity for you to meet this guy. That
yes,
he
yes,
gave you the opportunity for you to trust yourself and to
yes,
go through that process, because I think that's not easy for everyone to make that leap of like needing to know firsthand before they paint to just trusting and then feeling that something true and worthwhile is going to come through. It's like trusting, I think we all have that ability and perception of being able to connect to something that is not immediately available to the senses just through our aspiration. And
yeah.
yeah, and I assume also that he was kind of a spiritual person as well, so he probably held a certain gravity in that space and invited you to join.
Yeah, because he was a person I always felt he could just call goddesses like that. He said, "It's how you call your own mother. You call
Mm,
with
yeah,
passion. Don't you think she will not listen?" But while calling, if you have too much of thoughts, too much of plans, okay, I need this, I need that, then your interaction is very different. When you with
right.
love and compassion, it is like with a trust. He says it's very easy to say, "I love you," but it is very difficult to say, "I trust you."
Mm,
So
yeah.
if you are able to say somebody that I trust you, that means it is much beyond love to the divine.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment you can tell the goddesses, when you trust her completely, automatically things will flow. So that
Wow.
was his concept on that.
Yeah. Very nice.
And that was my basic experience. I really didn't know that it was he teaching me about it. And later on, he has given me a book once, like on a general discussion, and said that you will write about Sri Vidya. So, and I just looked at him and I asked, "Which Sri Vidya?" Because I really didn't know anything about the subject. Yes, I knew that yes, it is Sri and from Sri Vidya, but jokingly I said like that. Then he said, "When the time comes, time will reveal it to you." And I just packed the book and I kept it inside my box. That was it. But I lost him during 2015. He had a cardiac arrest, and after he not being there physically with me, then I really started on this project.
Mm,
I felt, yeah, time has come and I need to do. And writing was not a very easy thing for me. So I thought instead of writing, let me paint Mahatripura Sundari, the presiding goddesses of uh, Sri Vidya,
mm-hmm.
even without even knowing what was that book for, because I've never opened that book. It was inside a plastic cover and it was very old. I never even looked at that book. What is that book is all about?
Yeah.
And in fact, when I started this project, I didn't even know where that book was, where I have kept it. I knew that I kept it very safely, but I really didn't remember where it was. So that is how the whole journey started with my goddesses, or this journey.
Wow. Yeah. Very beautiful. And yeah, it seems like you were just ripe for now embarking on your journey. He set you up to build that connection, I think, with yourself to be able to reach these deities and these energies. And yeah, that's now it's like it's your journey and your manifestation. And yeah, so let's hear about the project and now getting into it a little bit. And I believe it was 64, is it?
Yeah,
64,
864. Yeah,
64 divine mothers.
yeah, yes.
The 64 goddesses. And
Yes.
when I heard you talking about it in the restaurant there, it was just a very special experience for me to hear because you gave yourself the time to really focus on each one, and it you it's very special because you were able to focus on each one individually. So you got this familiarity with the particulars of each one. So that seems very unique in this day and age for someone to take that time to do it, and then also to use your creativity and your artistic skills to bring it out. I think it's a it's a great blessing, really, and um, yeah, it's just a blessing in this day and age to give to humanity. Um, Kind of setting that in motion and invoking these forces with your own creativity. So, yeah, what brought you? Well, we know what brought you to this project, but what was it like when you started working on it? Was it overwhelming? Um, w- did you have all the deities mapped out for you already? And I'd love to hear about that process.
I actually was very clueless when I started. My intention was painting Mahatripura Sundari. But then I knew that I cannot straight away jump into that subject because I need to know her what I paint
And can
for
you
any.
explain that a little for the people that don't know that word? And many people over here may not know uh, that specifically.
It is Sri Vidya or Sri Yandra. It's a process. It's a system where you practice, uh, and the presiding goddesses of that particular process is Mahatripura Sundari. She is the universal feminine energy.
Hmm.
Okay. She's the counterpart of Lord Shiva. So that is what it is about the goddesses. Uh, to paint her, it was to paint her, it was not a great uh, uh, I because I really didn't know her, to paint
Hmm.
something you should know her, you know.
Right.
So I thought that was the thought in my mind. Before knowing her, how will I paint her, How will paint that feminine? So I said, I felt I should know me, myself, in a greater level to paint even another feminine. This
Mm.
is what my thought was. Then it was during a Navaratra time, where you do puja for the 9 days for goddesses.
Gee.
And I took fast and I thought, okay, let me paint. And what came to my mind was it was not goddesses. I suddenly thought, see, these thoughts, it was just coming. It was not any pre planned, this is what I need to do. So I started with Ardhanarishwara. Ardhanarishwara is a concept of male and female together.
Hmm.
Shiva and Shakti together, you half male and half female. I really don't know, didn't know at that particular moment why that thought is coming. But I have already decided that I will not put my brain into it. I'll just move on with the flow. what it is coming to me. So then I thought I'm more of a goddess's bhakt. So to respect the male in me, it was just a thought at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I should paint Ardhanarishwara, and I painted this figure, which is half male and half female. It's Shiva and Shakti.
Mm-hmm.
After doing that, then every coin was opening up. It was like it was unfolding of a plan. I painted Lord Bhairava, another form of Shiva. When I'm doing that, I really didn't know why am I doing it. But I just, okay, that is the thing coming to my mind. I paint. And why I paint, I don't have any questions. I don't have any answers. I never questioned it. Then I moved on to the path took me to 64 yoginis. So why 64 yoginis? I don't know. So then I assumed that whatever little understanding about the reading in little here and there in Google, because I'm not a person who have learned a lot of scriptures. I really have not even touched any of the books. So I don't have any such informations. But through little bit of informations available in Google and all, I understood that there are different forms of goddesses, or there are different parts of her own body, or different expressions of her. So I thought, okay, before doing the main deity or the main Mahatripura Sundari, let me understand her bit by bit through yoginis. This was my thought which just came to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I painted the 64 yoginis. Now, 64 yoginis are a big concept which is there during the second century. It's a long subject, to go deep into that. But in a small nutshell, I'll say it was there in second century. There are few temples in India which is round in shape, which is circle in shape, and no roof, and they sit around, and in center you have the Lord Bhairava. So in the circle you will have 64 goddesses.
Mm.
So there are few temples in India like that. So I thought, okay, I went to one of these temples. I tried to take a list. So there was so much of list available, like, Skanda Purana said so much of list. So it was different scriptures said different lists, but I just closely picked up one, which I went to the temple. I said, okay, I'll follow this. This is my roadmap. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to paint these goddesses.
Right.
But these goddesses' informations were not available for me. Absolutely, it was like I'll keep the canvas, I'll just pray, and I'll just tell Ma, you come on my canvas. And the the flow just moved. I took 4.5 years to complete 64 paintings. But that 4.5 years was the most beautiful time of my life, I'll say. I've been pulled up and down with issues. I had a lot of issues in my business. I have a lot of issues. Like there is so much of ups and downs, and
Right.
so I just moved on, closing my eyes, keeping that separate, and just trusted on each goddess so much, and I just painted. I just absolutely painted. So every goddess has given different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Every goddess has had different energies. So you have been pulled through these energies. That is how I painted the 64 goddesses. And after painting the 64 goddesses, I painted Mahatripura Sundari.
Wow. So it's like you needed to understand the parts or get acquainted with its smaller parts before you could really grasp the whole.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
That's
yes.
that's that's nice. Yeah, and it gave you a foundation to
Yeah,
encompass something greater.
yeah.
That's great. And I'm curious, from painting to painting, because there's specific goddesses with specific qualities, and we all know that the divine feminine, it's the qualities vary quite a bit. It's you get I'm familiar with I'm not familiar with the 64 goddesses, but I am familiar with the uh, the four main uh, lines of the divine feminine power. So you got Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati, and Maheshwari. And they're very vastly different, but they tend to encompass all the qualities of creation. Um, so it's just a fascinating thing. And I know these goddesses that you painted, they all are some form of those, some combination, some personality that embodies these powers. And I'm curious, while you were painting and while you were kind of focused on, because I'm sure it was probably like a week or two, on just this one, or maybe more, did you start to be able to distinguish like certain qualities, like, oh, like this one has this mood that this one didn't have, or was there any experiences like that for you while you were painting these?
Number one, to give you just an explanation about the four goddesses which you explained, to give you understanding. This is like a pyramid. The top goddess is Mahatripura Sundari.
Hmm.
Down you have an eight goddesses. Under each of them again eight. So it's like a pyramid. Okay. Which is making the 64.
I see.
Which is making the
Yeah.
64. Now it's like you imagine as a corporate company, the CEO, which is the goddess Mahatripura Sundari, eight departments, like eight departments is Vidya, Saraswati, you can think, finance, Lakshmi, you can think, power, Kali, you can think, like that eight divisions.
Hmm.
Okay. Now when it comes to Saraswati, like she's of for education. Or now education, we'll think it is only just Saraswati. No, there is so much of in that lineage. It is Matanki. There are so many other goddesses
Hmm.
which is
Right.
revealed to that. Education is not just reading a book. Education and knowledge and wisdom are different parameters of life or parameters of education. You need knowledge and wisdom is absolutely different. So this was the layering of these goddesses. Now, finance, when it comes to wealth, it is very important to understand what is that wealth. Is it wealth is money? Is it is your health? Is your peace? What is your wealth? So again, the layering. Lakshmi herself has layering.
Hmm.
Somebody Mananda. Mananda is a goddess which I painted. She is basically for Shanti, peace. She is
Right.
also wealth. At the end of the day, you have all your money in your bank, and if you don't have peace, that's no wealth. So
Right.
it's such beautifully structured. If you have understand on a corporate style, it is very clear for me. The map was so beautiful. So this is basically feminine creative power. It's like the male and the female. Okay, before going to that subject, I will like tell you the answer to the question. Of every goddesses revealed a form, a feel, which is very different from the other.
Hmm. Right.
Every goddess had a different power, a different purpose of life. It was not same. So that was very beautiful. That revelation was very beautiful. you know what you paint while painting Narmada, what is the feeling you had, and what is the feeling you had while painting Kali was absolutely different.
Right. And you
And
you felt
that is our
distinct
energy.
things. You felt these things differently from painting to
Of course,
painting. Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. That difference, yes, of course, you felt.
Hmm.
Difference of energy was absolutely, see, you meet five different people. Like, we feel different energies in these people, five people.
Hmm. Yes.
You meet your mother, you meet your father, their energies are different.
Yeah.
So everybody has carry some plus point or some energy strongly to give. So these god, that is why must be it is the parts of goddesses. It's different expressions of her,
Right.
different energies of her. So I feel it is that. And this divided into 64 must be, if you want precisely one energy, you can hold precisely. Like example, in a simple way, in the four goddesses which you are talking about, if you want education, you go to
Saraswati.
Saraswati. If you want wealth, you go to Lakshmi. If you want to wealth, you don't go to Saraswati. You go to Lakshmi only.
Right.
She deals with that energy. So like this 64 are different energies dealt with. So it is more precise. It is more, it is more focused. In wealth itself is more, again, it is divided. Like how in psychology we differently of different example, fear. Now, fear itself is divided into different fears, no? Fear of height, it can be fear of water. That feeling is not same. They're different. So it is more focused to pinpoint to a particular point. I think that is the 64. And it's
Mhm.
basically, it is 64,000 crores of yoginis.
Wow.
64 million. It's very, very, very minute.
Yeah, I've heard it divides and divides into basically, every single person almost can be looked at as one of the forms of a division of that, of a
Yeah.
manifestation of the goddesses or gods. So yeah, very beautiful. Um, and you wrote about these at the same time because you have a book. It's not just paintings. You wrote a
Yeah.
book during this process.
Yes. Not this process, after completing it, I thought I will only paint, but my experience was strong. So there were two, one of my cousin and one of my friend, whom I used to discuss about, okay, this is what I felt. Because everything you don't want to discuss with people, people may think you're gone off road. You're,
Right.
you're,
Yeah. You
you're
need the
not
right kind
normal.
of, yeah.
You're not normal. So you
Yeah.
didn't want to discuss with everybody. So there were some people who believed in and you enjoyed this travel. So then they all used to tell, no, you should write it down. At least for yourself, you write it down. But I never did. I never did that. After, if I have done that, I don't know whether I would have written right or wrong. I didn't do it. After finishing my painting, COVID was there. Just
Right.
COVID time. So then that's the time I thought, okay, let me try it, writing it down. So I wrote two chapters and sent it to a friend of mine. She's heading a newspaper. So I asked her, is there anything in that? Can I write it more? So she said, no, you are expressing it very well. Continue. So that was inspiration for me to write. So I've been writing a little bit and here and there, whenever I get time. Because you had to, I was dealing, after every painting, I dealing with her and go to the next.
I
Because
see.
you
Yeah.
cannot carry so much of weight on you, no? It's all pressures then. So after finishing the 64, then connecting to the first goddesses, what is like an again remembering that what it was a big job for me. Again, I
Right.
had to commit to that. It was not very easy. So I used to keep her painting and I used to meditate. Okay, like that. It as I wrote. It was not simultaneously I wrote. I sometimes feel good I didn't write it simultaneously, because if it have written it simultaneously, it would have been more deeper. It would have been more heavier. So this is on a lighter note.
I
So
see.
yeah, I feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine it would be a little difficult to recall everything, but yeah, it's a good practice though, again, to go back, remember, And it's quite a capacity, I guess, in practice you're developing and getting by having to connect to these individual energies and then pull out and then connect to another one. So,
It was
yeah.
not like that. I actually, why I could do is, I just left the me out of me. If I had this me in me, I would have had a lot of questions. So
Hmm.
I just left her out. So no, I didn't have any questions. I didn't have any doubts. I just followed. I just painted without questions, without what it is. So so it was not heavy for me. If I would have gone to analyze why, what, and how, this would not have happened.
Right.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, I think that's probably your intuitive capacity that that developed prior to this with your friend, it seems, that allowed you to have that. And that I think it's actually you know, a lot of people have it. I think a lot of artists they tend to have these capacities. Maybe they don't realize it, but you know, empathic people, intuitive people, you know, they don't know their ability, and they also don't know how to direct it too. They have a capacity, they have a gift, but they don't know what to do with it. And it I think it's nice because you're actually an example of using that in a positive way, where you start to develop a capacity and a certain empathy, a sensitivity to certain energies, and it's not just you become a channel to say anything, which which may not actually look very nice at the end of the day, or it could outpicture something negative depending on what energy you channel. But you get sensitive, and then you just call the divine. You know, you call the divine. I'm open, please come to me. Let me connect with you. Let me share my heart with you and express you on this canvas. And it's really a nice example for artists to know that that's a possibility. And
Of course, as an artist, when you paint, whether it is goddesses or any subject, you become a creator. You use your creative feminine energy. In fact, any human being you wants to use or done successful in life or want to do something, they use their creative feminine force. Okay, if I have to lift a thing, I need energy. That energy is feminine.
mhm,
So
yeah,
for any man or a woman, it is going to be like that. Masculine energy is like structures to hold that flow. Like
yeah,
feminine is a flow. It's like a
right,
smooth flow. So for an artist, if we are like, you should allow it to flow for you to just paint, you know,
yes,
no questions, no structures there. Just paint. You need structure after finishing the painting when you want to sell it. That is the
yes,
time you need masculine energy.
right,
While
right,
creating, use your
yeah.
feminine energy completely.
Yeah, that's where the balance comes in of the
Yeah.
masculine and feminine energies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of the artists are yeah, you need to, you know, a lot of artists are have that connection to the feminine energy because it is
Yeah.
about creating. It's about flow. And yeah, how I've been taught and understand it is indeed like that, where you know the male force, the masculine energy is stability, and is kind of it's the unmoving awareness for that eternal kind of I force. And the feminine is the all of the creation, everything. It's the whole consciousness, it's the force, it's the creation, it's the manifestation. And they need each other in order to
Yeah,
have
it,
the full.
it's coexistence that matters, and how to use how much and where to use how much is what it is.
Yes.
That is the knowledge, that is the wisdom.
Hmm.
Otherwise, both energies are there, and we need to have that balance.
Yes. And it seems that's the way the divine manifests too. When both energies inside ourselves, they become stronger. That stability of the divine presence is strong within us. If that gets
Yeah,
stronger and stronger, then the feminine power can actually have more support to do more work and to express and to manifest. But it can't manifest and express if the masculine force is not strong and stable. It could look because it then it'll start to lose balance. So, and this is for every man and woman, it seems, um, that we are in the process of balancing these things to become divine creators ultimately. Um, as we raise ourselves in consciousness, these things happen, and it seems that this is actually the artist's journey. To be able to, this is the true artist's journey, to raise your consciousness so that you can be a more pure and powerful vehicle to express the divine in this way, and holding uh, your stability and kind of becoming a bigger power or a stronger power of the masculine stability, while having more expressive momentum and reach of your feminine energies, power of your feminine energies to actually make a difference and to help and to do something for yourself, for someone, for the earth. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's um, it's a beautiful thing, and I is just to get back into the your project and to things like that. I'm just curious, like, what is there a particular spiritual benefit that you like? I know we both know you experience many things, but on your spiritual journey, was there a particular benefit that you experienced personally by going through this artistic process?
what do you mean by a benefit?
I mean, so, like, there's points in our sadhana, right, where we realize, oh wow, this is another side to myself that I didn't know was there, and it's now I have it for the rest of my life. And this will aid me to do anything I need to do to help someone, or to, and maybe it's an awareness, maybe it's a connection to the heart, maybe it's a certain capacity that we didn't know we had, or a connection. And I'm curious if this process like helped you in some way like that.
For me, these paintings were my sadhana. I realized uh, I really don't know whether I should call that as a benefit. Uh, because of the process, because of this 4 years which I've done, and further now it's almost 10 years I'm into this project. If I'm able to sustain this project, it's because of my connection with her. I've I've understood a different space of spirituality, what is real spirituality is for a common man. Everybody may not be able to do sadhana. Sadhana is not maybe everybody's. What is now sadhana? Sadhana, if you sit in front of a goddesses, put flowers and just do that, is also not sadhana. So different forms of sadhana is there. For me, painting was my sadhana. So it may not be possible for every human being who is living a very very, very, tough life, you're up and down, the um, the world is going towards such a space. So at that time, for you to understand God on a personal level, it's so important to be a great human being.
Hmm.
It is not possible. You may not be able to get into a correct community of, where you have a guru or lineage, you may not be able to. So it's so important for every human being to understand your own energy, your own connect to your own divine energy, to be grounded, to do good, to understand the universe in a better language. So I feel that is what my gain is all about, in the whole journey. I feel I am in that space to understand. I am in that space which is very important, which makes you calm, which makes you quiet, it makes you happy, which makes you understand what's happening. It's if it is not for you, you understand that's not for you, and able to understand that. Like yesterday I was just seeing a movie called Iris Wish. I, f- I found it so nice. It's beautifully understanding the concept. Whatever you wish for is not maybe for you. So when you wish something, when I have a desire, when I have a wish, when you are able to elevate yourself to a position where you feel that my wish is not only going to do good for me, but it's going to do good for others also, and it's not going to harm others. It is for the best for the universe, not only just for me. So when you do that, when you are able to come to that particular position, it makes lives very easy. I
Mm.
feel that is what our generation, or our like people around us, or for the future generation, should more concentrate on being spiritual with yourself.
Mm.
Align yourself with the universal energy. Align yourself, to understand it better, what's happening around you. I think that's the best spirituality which you can.
Hmm.
If you sit morning till evening inside a temple and you come out and not do good, that's not spirituality.
Right.
You cannot call that a spirituality. It's a different space of a human being where it can be embedded in anyone, the person who does sadhana, the person who doesn't do sadhana, or who doesn't have time to do sadhana. I feel like it's so important to understand, to connect with your own divinity, and that is what is the learning which I had during this. I felt I am in peace with myself.
Mm.
Easy to say I'm in peace, and I'm in peace with myself, which is very important, to be peace with you, to be in peace with you. If I am not in peace with myself, how do I be in peace with you?
Right. Right.
So that is what I felt. Yeah. And enlightenment, all that things, I found it as very high, much more to travel. You need to be, so it is, you are on that path. But all that, I feel sometimes we have been highlighting few words and misleading people, like do this, you get this, you do that, you
Right.
get this. No, it's not that. If you do this, you don't may not get it. Then what?
Right. It's yeah, like pe people are results driven, and
Yeah, you go to a
with
temple for
these.
some results. Why? You go to temple to see her.
Hmm.
Go see her and come. No.
Yes,
Why you
just
want?
share your
Yeah,
heart. Yeah, connect,
yeah, yes,
connect.
yes,
Give your
yeah,
love. Let the rest, let the possibilities, be what they are. If something
yeah,
comes, beautiful. If not, that's okay too.
yes,
Yeah, I think that's where the peace comes, that you obviously connected to. And
see, we
yeah,
have such peace.
I
That's why that silence comes in.
yeah.
That's why the silence comes in. We are at peace. We realize we are able to connect to ourselves. So that's beautiful space, I feel.
Yes. Yes. And
And with regards to the project, yeah, I've completed my 64 paintings. I've completed my book. I'm planning for a museum. I've done a documentary. So my aim is to reach out to more people through the elements, to the methods which this generation believes in, like audiovisual,
right.
talking, like how I'm conveying talking to you, to more people to understand the more of feminine energy and the masculine energy, and the power of the goddess, power of the divine, whichever you name you want to call, how they can be supportive to you, or if you really practice it, practice the language of love towards that particular divinity. And yes, religious practices, yoga, all that things, everybody may not get a chance to do it. People who get a chance to do it, they are very lucky. They are very lucky you have a guru, because these practices need gurus, all that thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it's basically the projects is on.
Yeah, yeah. That's a beautiful thing that you're
Because
giving
till
really
now
to humanity.
it was me alone, me painting, me writing a book. Now it is open to a bigger realm, like
Hmm.
more people have to come in to take it forward. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a great opportunity you have to be an example for other artists, other creative people, just to perhaps younger generations that are kind of growing up in a world where there's choices. There's I see what's happening in the world, and people can either decide to get swept away by a lot of noise and go for just immediate satisfactions and pleasures, which is very easy to do and alluring, or they can introspect a little bit and kind of wonder, what is this? What is life? Why am I here? What am I? What is this? And start to become sensitive and connect to something deeper, and realize that there is perhaps something a bit more than meets the eye, and something a little bit more true and and um and beautiful, and even realize, what is this word divine? Is it a possibility? Is it a real thing? Is it real in me? Is it real in you? What is it? And this project is a good example of that. So yeah. um yeah, thank you. It's beautiful to talk to you here, and it's a beautiful thing to talk about the feminine power and energies, and I do think it's something that's very important that we need uh, right now, and I I'm familiar with it. I have a female guru, and so I know the power of the feminine force, which is a beautiful thing. It's something that's very needed, I think, because it can embrace and hold the devotee, the seeker, and whether you have a physical form of a guru or not, or it's just mother. Um, it's I feel it's ready and waiting to embrace each and every one of us on earth,
Very
and
true.
and she will hold you, and she will take you up, and literally, I my experience is that she will embrace you, and you get transformed in that embrace. is if like you were saying before, if you are willing to say like I trust you, and to kind of open up into that surrender, she just automatically fills. And
Very true.
so I'm looking forward to sharing this talk and this video with everyone. And I'd love to show some pictures of your work
We'll do
and
that.
in the
We'll do that.
process. And so, where would you like to direct people to that are listening to this to find out more about what you're doing? And I could also, I will share some links that you've already shared me
Yeah. You
in
can share my
our notes.
website. You can, yeah, you can, if somebody wants to talk, website, you can share email IDs. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do that. Yes.
Okay. So I will share all those. And Beena, it was just lovely talking with you today. And is there anything, say, for the just for say the aspiring artist or creative person, someone who's perhaps even a spiritual seeker that's looking to connect and to reveal something deeper, like you did? Is there any pointer you would give, or just that pops in your head right now? Any
Yeah.
advice?
I will like to say that understanding science is very important. That's a knowledge, but able to look beyond, because today people believe in technology, in the world of science and technology. So let's not get restricted with that, because that has limitations. But spirituality is beyond that. So able to look a little beyond what you see with your own eyes will takes you to different heights of the same projects.
Hmm.
Like I'm talking about on their own work, on the same thing, able to look little beyond and able to trust that what you see little beyond. So you have to initiate that your own energy to able to little look little. It's not only what I see and what I hear. There's so much what I don't see and there's so much what I don't hear. Where a different sense you need to develop that particular sense to reach out. So for that you need to practice the looking little beyond.
Hmm.
You know, you have to glance through certain things to understand. Take a break, take a rest. We are so occupied so much and we really don't have time to think about. All that is beautiful, all that is beautiful, but take some time to connect with yourself. Take some time to connect with the nature, which will allow you to be more looking beyond. And once you understand that space, when you're able to look a little beyond that little spirituality, that will enhance your work into multifolds, and it gives peace within. At the end of the day you'll be happy about what you're doing, not just like a machine you do something and you finish your life. Even spirituality you can find even in cooking. When you cook, put your heart and cook. That's very meditative.
Hmm.
When you do work in your office, put your heart, put your all. Don't do that as a force of living. I need to do this. I am morning. You don't cry to go to office, say that, oh, I need to go to office. It becomes a pain. You don't enjoy. You
Right.
enjoy whatever is available for you. Then you will be able to look beyond. Then you will be able to see beyond what to do, what you love. And always do something which you always love to do. Spend some time for that.
Yes.
And it takes you to a different space of spirituality. And I feel that is what the spirituality, that is where we need to start working on the spirituality.
Hmm.
Because it is like, it's like quantum physics. It is like quantum. If you, it's like we are the smallest specks available. Okay. But we are entangled and linked with different energies. And the small vibration of ours, we can vibrate that particular energy. It takes you two spaces, makes you grounded when you think you are nothing but a small speck. but it makes you powerful when you think that even this can vibrate or connect you to the highest of energies.
Mm,
So it gives the dual side of a power,
right.
and there is nothing negative in life. How we use the power, it's a force. You can use it for good things and you can use it for bad things. Then it just becomes a bad energy. Otherwise, the energy is always good. Where you use it, what it makes.
Right.
The water falls on a cup of glass of water. In a rain, when it some falls on the drain and one falls on your ground and one falls on a cup. Water is same. Where it is used, where it is fallen, where it is makes all the difference. At
Right.
the end of the energy is same. Thank you so much. This
Thank you.
meeting and
Thank you,
thank you
Veena.
for this
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, this was lovely. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.